I think exercise first week is just fixation, and it feels kind of funny to just describe that, say, well, just hold this pen and just look at it for 10 seconds. And there's some kids that can't do that. And so there's plenty of kids that can, and so obviously it's pretty easy, but I mean, sometimes it's just something basic. They can't even look at something for more than a second. And so um it's you really just have to kind of break it down. And I think that's what, like with vision therapy, and I think that's really what, when I was in school, maybe we tend to overcomplicate it sometimes, and it seems like this daunting thing, like, oh, what is vision therapy? But if I go to the physical therapist and my leg is sore, well, the odds are I'm probably just going to have to get some pretty basic stretches for my legs, and it's going to work. And so I'm like, oh, why didn't I just think of this myself? I could have stretched my leg, but sometimes you just don't think about it, and you don't realize how powerful the simplicity really is. I mean, just repetition of doing something simple, you just become more efficient at it. And so we don't tend to think about our eyes as muscles, and we don't think about, that possibly they may not work as well together, or they may not be as efficient as they need to be. But most of the time, you just form that you tell the eyes what to do from the brain, and you just learn that connection, the eyes and the brain connection, and it just, eventually you learn it just like anything else, and it gets better.
Exactly, because if your child can't look at, a pen or, something like that for 10 seconds, then how are we expecting them to have any sort of fluency with their reading, any sort of reading comprehension, wanting to read at all, But then a lot of times, at least for our patients, their parents are like, oh, they're lazy, or their teachers are like,
Hmm.
oh, they're lazy. And it's just now we're having a self confidence issue because the child doesn't know how to articulate the fact that whatever they're trying to do, it's hard. Like you said, for your son, he's saying he's bored, but you can dig deeper into that and see what that means. But there are some kids who are just bored. They're just
Yeah.
bored regardless of what they're doing. And it's just like, okay, I don't think it's your eyes anymore. So I think that for parents, it's hard to kind of parse that out and see exactly what's going on. But to have something like for your program, I don't even see it as only for rehabilitation, but it seems like it being incorporated into all homeschooling curriculum would be
Hmm.
amazing because all of these skills are necessary for appropriate reading and wanting to read and loving to read and having those visual skills. But parents don't know it. And, in the traditional schooling system, like there's other things that are like, confounding everything and all the politics of everything. But as a homeschool parent, you can like get ahead of this before it ever becomes a problem in the first place. So at what age do you think it would be good for a parent who might not be seeing anything yet, but they're doing the homeschooling, they're there with their child anyway. At what age do you recommend them starting to utilize your program and starting to incorporate some of the tenets of it so that they can make sure that their child never has an issue that they're then recovering?
Yeah, I really built this program to really be for all ages, really just from starting to read to seniors in high school, even college age. I mean, but a 4 or 5 year old child could sit down and do this just as easily as an older child. I tried to keep it pretty basic, and I tried to make it to where they could modify it to where it's a little bit easier. Now, attention span is going to be different, obviously, for a 4 or 5 year old child, but a lot of this, they should be able to do, and it's not very hard to incorporate. Honestly, if I, with my family, my 3 year old excluded probably, I would just sit down and do this with all three of my kids just before they get started for the day. Let's go do through our vision warm up here, and let's just work through this program and make sure we're all, learning how to do this.
Exactly, because if they incorporate it as part of like their warm up for their homeschooling session, then they really just automatically are building in these skills, and the kiddos never have to go through noticing double vision and then coming back from it and that sort of thing. Like they can just kind of avoid all of those things from the beginning, which is really the goal.